Writing as a process. Writing is nothing but
Huwag lahat ay isang kainan.
1, 2, 3. Writing as a process. Writing is a sequence of idea that is written to be shared. It's a process of communicating and learning in which the author writes to communicate with the reader, and the reader learns from the author. Writing is also a process of understanding because it helps process the idea on our own by reading it anytime at our convenience. Process of writing. Process of writing is the step-by-step procedure to have an effective paper. In this process, the author is guided on how she or he will write the paper for the reader to understand it clearly and orderly. The following are the process of writing. First, we have pre-writing. Pre-writing is basically how you will start your writing. You first have to review the text, identify the problem, and the question you intend to answer. Then list and understand the information that you will need. In pre-writing, we have developing your reasoning and claims, where we create a draft of your argument statement presenting your reasoning, about 300 to 600 words. Compose 1 to 2 sentences about your working thesis statement or the claims you want the reader to accept because it's true. We also have conduct preliminary research. After the draft of your argument, do research to strengthen your claims using scholarly articles from reputable sources. The author has a reputation and cites their sources. The source uses relevant and up-to-date information to support its claim, and the source should seek to educate and instill knowledge and is not opinion focused. Then we have outlining. Constructing an outline is a vital part of writing an effective piece as it helps in guiding the readers from the question or problem to the answer or interpretation. This implies that the structure of your content should be based on point of view of your target audience, requiring a logical and constructive flow to prevent misdirecting the reader. Second, we have drafting. This is where you construct an outline as a writing prompt to build your own ideas into a written form that includes the scholarly article and evidence that you have to collect to truly explain your points. Here you will summarize paragraph topic or introduce a new claim, state and explain evidence and emphasize your point. Third, we have revising. Revising your argument and thesis statement is acceptable to enhance the content of your topic. With these changes, it is essential to conduct additional research and modify the initial draft into an up-to-date draft to support the improved argument and thesis statement. Next, we have editing. In editing, you need to identify and sort out minor and numerous details to increase the clarity and directness of your message. To edit, you need to check and eliminate redundancies, remove jargon, condense wordy sentences, replace generic words such as things with concrete examples, and run a grammar and spell check. Next, we have formatting. Format is a set of rules and guidelines which includes the following elements. Font size. Examples are Times New Roman. Spacing, we have double and single spacing. For headings, we have title, abstract, main headings, and subheadings. For margins, we have 1 inches. For header, we have header with a paper's topic for scholars and page numbers, and no header but with page number for students. For citation, we need an out-of-date in-text citation, and for reference is the reference. A citation credits the authors of work you use to support your claims and arguments. These are the following citing source. The American Psychological Association, or APA, is a well-known citation format that is used in reference list page in in-text citation. This is usually utilized in the field of scientific investigation, which include nursing, social sciences, business, sociology, psychology, criminology, and linguistics. Examples of in-text citations are open and close parentheses, Ramsey, A 2006. We also have Modern Language Association, or MLA. This is a format of citation that does not require a title page and has a work cited. Element at the end of the document similar to APA's references. In addition, its in-text citations is composed of authors and page number and uses abbreviations heavily to lessen the length of in-text citations. Example of in-text citations, open and close parentheses, John 8. Harvard referencing, right. We also have Harvard referencing. Unlike MLA, Harvard referencing has a title page. In addition, it has an author date referencing like APA, but it does not have a comma and differs from it with its reference list element. Example of in-text citations, open and close parentheses, Smith, 2008. And lastly, we have Chicago, or Turabian style. It's a unique format that instead of putting in-text citations directly in the body of the paper, it uses footnotes or endnotes for citations, apart from having the bibliography at the end. Examples: Carlos Smith, World War II, and open close parentheses, New York, Ngage, Learning, 2009, 32. Concept. The Latin word capio, which means to gaps together, implies the Latin word capio, which means to gaps together, implies the function of concept. It unifies characteristics, experience, and observations into a single mental presentation. In the context of academic papers, a concept paper is a brief document that presents the idea, objectives, and the theoretical framework of a purpose research project, serving as an introduction to a research question. This presents the whatness, or defining the qualities to know what it is. However, it is essential to understand how concepts work, as they are not explicit as they seem. To further understand what a concept is, it is essential to know how it is constructed. Conceptualizing is the act of forming. To further understand what a concept is, it is essential to know how it is constructed. Conceptualizing is the act of forming concepts based on issues variable by experiences and observations. It requires three elements, which includes name, definition, and link to empirical facts. To fully define a concept, it should begin with problematization. Problematization. To further understand what a concept is, it is essential to know how it is constructed. Conceptualizing is the act of forming concepts based on issues verifiable by experiences and observations. It requires three elements, which include name, definition, and link to empirical facts. To fully determine a concept, it should begin with problematization, where identifying and knowing what caused the issue and its process is examined. These ideas are then specified with experiences and observation, which lead to generalization. These ideas are then specified with experiences and observation, which leads to generalization. The specified ideas help recognize the essential characteristics to know what is included and excluded within the concept. There are three systems of concept: hierarchical relations, which is having generic relations; partitive relations, or being divided or decomposed into parts; and associative relations, where it connects different concepts on rank and based on experience. We also have the 8 criteria of concept. For an effective definition, these are the 8 criteria should be considered: familiarity, resonance, parsimony, consistency, differentiation, depth, theoretical utility, and usefulness of the semantic field. Understanding concept through documented essays analysis. For instance, For the People Woman That You Are by Carla M. Labog critiques the understanding concept through documented essays analysis. For instance, For the Filipino Woman That You Are by Carla M. Labog critiques the phrase kababae mong tao, which is quite similar to the expression for a girl. This is used in statements such as, "You're pretty good at basketball," for a girl. While it might appear normal on the surface, the signified message may describe the restrictive gender expectation rooted in the Spanish colonization. The signified message may describe the restrictive gender expectation rooted in the Spanish colonialization. Similarity, Durin G. Fernandez discussed the term "badui" as not just simple term like having a poor taste, but as not just a simple term like having a poor taste, but as an insult to social class, rooted in the Western standards. This shows how the words being signified are not always aligned to the referent, which encourages us to dig deeper and define concept methodically. This shows how the word being signified. This shows how the word being signified are not always aligned to the referent, which encourage us to dig deeper and define concept methodically. This shows how the word being signified are not always aligned to the referent, which encourage us to dig deeper and define concept methodically.